There's a secret about Stoicism that almost nobody knows, and it can help you conquer any fear in your life. The secret is this: Stoics mastered fear like no one else. And yet they had one technique that was hidden from the public eye until now. If you learn how to use this technique, you will never be afraid of anything again. It doesn't matter if you have social anxiety, performance anxiety, or maybe you get nervous when you talk to women or you're starting a new business. This one secret can help you conquer all those fears. Let's uncover what it is. Before we dive into the secret, I want to share an incredible story with you. A long time ago, there were two Roman generals who were best friends. But tragically, one of them would end up betraying the other. This betrayal was so intense that it caused the downfall of one of the generals and his family. That general's name was Gaius Marius. He was a great Roman general. He had defeated many enemies of Rome and was very famous throughout the empire. But his political rival, Lucius Cornelius Sulla, wanted power for himself. So he started a civil war against Marius, and he used underhanded tactics to take down his best friend. First, Sulla took away Marius's command. Then he took away his citizenship. And then he even put his sons to death. And finally, he forced Marius to flee to Africa in disguise. There he lived the rest of his life in hiding. Now, imagine being in this situation. Your name was once revered throughout the entire empire, but now you have to live the rest of your life in hiding. That is the type of fear that most people can't imagine. But Marcus Aurelius, the emperor who wrote Meditations, had a different reaction. He said that he wasn't worried at all. In fact, he said that it was ridiculous that these things could upset him. He said, "What is this fear? What is this distress? Is it not just the opinion that you formed about this event?" So Marcus Aurelius tells us that all of our emotions are ultimately just opinions that we have formed in our mind. He says that it's not the events themselves that cause us to feel fear, anger, or sadness, but rather it's our opinions about the events that cause our emotions. Now, the question is, how do we control those opinions? Well, Epicurus has the answer. He said, we choose what we want to think about, what we voluntarily pay attention to. We actually get to decide what we think about. Now, when we talk about voluntary attention, this might sound like you remaking stuff up in your head and that it's not true to reality. But that's not what he means. What he means is that you have control over the narratives that you tell yourself about the things that happen to you. For example, when you get criticized, you can either think to yourself, "Wow, this person really hates me and they're attacking me personally," or you can think to yourself, "Wow, this person must be going through something in their own life that's causing them to be so angry." Which narrative do you think will cause you less fear and less negative emotion? Of course, the second one. And the cool thing is that both narratives are technically true. Both things can be true. The first narrative, "This person really hates me and they're attacking me personally." That can be true. But the second narrative, "This person must be going through something in their own life that's causing them to be so angry," that can also be true. Even though both statements can be true, you get to decide which one you're going to believe. And this is the secret that the Stoics have known for centuries. You get to decide what you think about. You get to decide which narrative you're going to believe. This is why Marcus Aurelius says that external events can't cause us fear, because we get to decide what those events mean. You see, when we try to conquer fear, a lot of times we're trying to change the external world. We're trying to change the things that are outside of our control. Maybe we avoid public speaking because we're afraid of what other people will think of us. Or maybe we don't approach the girl we're interested in because we're afraid of what she might say. But the ironic thing is that a lot of the things that we fear never actually happen. How many of you have been nervous about something terrible happening only for nothing bad to happen at all? If you're like me, then probably quite a few times. When we fear things, sometimes our minds run wild with all sorts of possibilities, painting a future that may never come to fruition. But when we start focusing on the worst-case scenario, we cause ourselves unnecessary stress and anxiety. Instead, we should focus on what's in our control, our thoughts, our beliefs, and our actions. And that's exactly what the Stoics did. They didn't avoid the things they feared. Instead, they focused on changing their perspective of the situation. Let's go back to the example of public speaking. Many people avoid public speaking because they're afraid of what others will think of them. But the Stoic way to deal with this fear is to focus on what you can control. You can control your preparation, your delivery, and your mindset. You can prepare thoroughly for your speech. You can work on your delivery to be confident and engaging. And you can remind yourself that the only thing you truly need to do is to share your message with the audience. Beyond that, you can't control how others will react. You can't control whether or not they'll like your message. All you can control is your own behavior and your own mindset. And that's what you should focus on. Another great example of this is with the story of Cato the Younger. Cato was a Stoic philosopher and politician in ancient Rome. During his time, Rome was becoming more and more corrupt, and Cato was afraid that the Republic was on the verge of collapse. He saw the corruption around him and he feared for the future of Rome. But instead of trying to change the world, Cato chose to focus on what he could control, his own actions. He remained a man of integrity and virtue in a corrupt world. He refused to compromise his principles even when it cost him dearly. In fact, when Rome was taken over by Caesar Augustus and it became an empire, Cato's nephew, also named Marcus Cato, ended up committing suicide rather than living under the rule of an emperor. But Cato the Younger didn't care about the future of the Republic. He knew that he couldn't control what happened to Rome. So he chose to focus on his own actions. He wrote books, he gave speeches, he mentored young people. And he hoped that by setting an example of integrity and virtue, he could make a difference in the world. In the end, we don't know if Cato was successful in saving Rome, but we do know that he remained true to himself and his principles. And that's the most important thing we can do as human beings. Focus on what we can control, our thoughts, our actions, and our reactions. Don't worry about the things we can't control, the things that are outside of our power. In today's world, it can be easy to get caught up in the things we fear. We see conflict in the news every day, and it's easy to become fearful of the future. But instead of focusing on our fears, let's focus on what we can control. Let us focus on our own thoughts and actions, and let us try to make a positive impact on the world around us. That's the legacy that we want to leave behind. That's what we'll be remembered for. If you want to continue to level up, and if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe for more videos about Stoicism and ancient philosophy. Thank you.